again. And since Đà Lạt is all about discovering new places and new people, how about we meet up with someone new today?
Hello everyone, I'm Sebastian from Sweden and I'll show you around today.
So, Sebastian, are you ready to do this?
Of course, let's go.
So, once again, my name is Nia.
My name is Sebastian.
And you're watching
Street VN.
So, Sebastian, do you happen to know where we are today?
Yeah, I do. This is the amazing railway station in Đà Lạt.
Well, it's not only the most amazing, but also the most history and, significant thing about Đà Lạt when people come here. So, are you curious about where this leads or the history of this? Are you curious about where this leads or how people used to get around?
I am. Please tell me a little bit more about how this station is operating and where are the trains going?
So, this was first built in 1938 and it took about 6 years to build all of this from 1932. And, people used to ride these railways to a place 84 kilometers away from here.
Yeah.
This used to be one famous means to get around. You know what get around means, right?
Yeah.
Get around is a phrase that is used to describe to travel.
Exactly.
So I think that's quite useful for our audience. And right now, at the moment, there's only one rail operating and it's leading people to a place called Trại Mát.
Is that a big place, a small village, or what is it?
A location away from Đà Lạt, just next to Đà Lạt.
Is it north? Does it go north or it goes south?
I think it goes that way. I don't really know the directions
okay.
around here. So this place was forced to stop during the war, but has also resumed now. And apart from using it to get around, people also come here to take pictures and enjoy the scenery, enjoy the view and everything.
Yeah, I can see it's very beautiful. It's
yeah.
Nice.
And if you want to go to Trại Mát, then this will be a very interesting way to travel around,
I think so, and I think I'll try it out for sure.
Well, you know what they say, as fast as a train.
Exactly.
So how about we check out other spots of the station?
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So this place, as I mentioned to you, is really significant. Although most of the carriages like this are on display. So can you guess how many are still running?
No, I cannot. And these carriages, are they the same old carriages running still, or they're the
ones are still running? It's a bit more modern than this one.
Yeah.
But this one looks a bit vintage and retro, so people love to take picture on them.
Yeah.
The one which is still running, as there's only one still running, as I mentioned to you before, and it carried people to Trại Mát. And this station has been operating for such a long time now, since the time of the French.
Wow.
So
these trains, how are they running? Are they running once a week, or when can I get the train?
Well, it usually comes here about 7:45.
Oh, every morning?
Yeah, every morning.
Oh.
And then it just comes in different time slots of the day.
Yeah.
There's directions in the station.
Yeah.
This station represents a lot of things. Can you look at the station, the architecture of it, and guess what it represents?
Yeah, I think it represents the old part of Vietnam and Đà Lạt.
1 point.
The old architecture, and
Actually, it represents a mountain.
A mountain?
You heard about the Langbiang mountain, right?
Yeah, I did. I went over there. It's amazing.
Yeah, so the 3 houses, the 3 roofs of the station,
Yeah.
the 3 steeples,
Yeah.
those represents mountains ranges.
Oh,
That's interesting,
wow,
right?
that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's well thought out.
So you said 3 roofs. So there are 3 mountains like Langbiang, and what are the other 2?
It represents the range of mountains in Langbiang.
Oh, I see.
So I think in the old times, or even nowadays, this is still an interesting place to use to move around and travel.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Mentioning travel, how do you usually get around?
Yeah, so I have been traveling since for the last 20 years, and I love getting around with trains. So
Trains.
yeah, with trains. Trains are my favorite
What
way.
else?
Train, bus, anything that moves on the ground, you know, so you can
Are
observe
you fond of the planes?
Not really. It's okay, but I prefer moving on the ground because you can see the nature, you can see, you know, the environment, you can get into local people. It's a really good way.
So, can you guess what do they call buses and trains and planes? All those things that help you move around.
Yeah,
Those are called means of transportation.
exactly.
How about a few idioms about traveling? You know, you travel a lot, so you
Yeah.
might know a few better than me.
Yeah, to get into new places, meet
Get
new
into new
people,
places.
new cultures.
I heard that when people are pushed into new environments and different places, they're called like a fish out of water.
I think so.
Like
I think
when
so.
you get pushed into completely new environments and scenarios, you're like a fish out of water.
Exactly. You know, traveling is a little bit being thrown under the bus. You know,
Under the bus.
Yeah, I think so. Your life is sometimes, you know, forcing you to do things that you usually don't want to or afraid to do, and that's a really good thing about moving and traveling. You know.
So, how do you feel about traveling around Dalat?
I think it's really nice. There's so many amazing places, you know, around Dalat with waterfalls, good nature, forests. It's amazing.
Well, you have traveled a lot. What is the main difference between traveling in Dalat compared to traveling in other places?
I think the difference between traveling in Dalat is first of all the weather, because you know in Vietnam it's usually like really hot and humid wherever you go. But in Dalat it's quite different with, you know, warm days and cold nights, and the weather is like kind of crazy. You can't understand and predict how it's
So
going
is
to.
it like right for you?
Yeah, I think it's very suitable for me.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I think different. I think the weather here is really spontaneous.
Yeah.
Last night, when we were ready to go out, it just rains, and it rained cats and dogs.
Exactly. You never know. Like when I expect the rain, then the sunshine comes, and
And it's
we
just
will.
like harsh, right?
It is.
Like, the predicted weather and the actual weather here is as different as chalk and cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
I cannot just understand this.
Me neither. But that's the cool thing, and that's what I like.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like, well, I think when you cannot just predict what's going to happen, I think just go with the flow.
Exactly. That's more interesting.
Make with what you have best in hand.
Exactly. That's the way to go.
So, cool tips. You know the word the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. That's when you're kind of lost, right?
Yeah, you're kind of lost and there's nothing or no one around.
Exactly.
So when you're in the middle of nowhere and you get like stranded, you can just find a source of water, like a river or a flow or like a railway.
Yeah.
And follow that. Because those things usually lead to where people is.
Exactly. I think that's the secret, you know, of traveling. And when you get lost, just find the rail.
Yeah, and get some help.
Exactly.
You know how train was like the fastest way to move around, the optimal solution for transportation?
Yeah, I think so. The train was replaced by the horses, right?
Yeah.
Back in the time, people were riding around with horses, but then the train came.
The train came. Actually, people in Vietnam, I think they're not really used to travel to faraway places using motorbikes.
Yeah.
So the train was a great means of transportation to get around and see things.
Yeah, exactly. And also pretty safe.
Yeah, it's pretty safe.
Yeah, it's safe, you know.
They say if you want to go fast, you take the plane.
Yeah.
But if you want to go far and to really enjoy the trip, you should take the train.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you happen to know the difference between scenery and landscape?
Scenery and landscape. No, isn't that the same? Kind of the same, or explain what
It
do
is
you mean?
kind of the same. It is used by people to describe one place or one scene. I think those are words that used simultaneously and almost as the same meaning.
Yeah,
But scenery is used to describe a large picture.
Yeah.
Like Dalat has great scenery.
yeah,
That means you can take photogenic and snap up some great shots in Đà Lạt.
Exactly.
Wow.
And how about the landscape?
So the landscape means like you fit everything into one setting and put it in one picture, or it's just a setting.
Yeah.
For example, pine forests and mountains are popular landscape in Đà Lạt.
Yeah.
So I think that's convenient and that's worth, trying to describe how the way of using it to our audience.
Yeah.
So, how do you get to the station in particular?
So I got here with my motorbike.
Motorbike?
Yeah.
Where did you learn to ride them?
I learned I learned to ride a motorbike in Asia. So I have been around Asia, different countries back and forth for about 3 years now. And little by little, I learned to ride a motorbike.
Back and forth. That might be, useful idioms for our audience. What is the first impression of you with Vietnamese traffic?
So the Vietnamese traffic is kind of like very intense and like hectic, but at the same time, like everything kind of flows like really good.
What does hectic mean?
So hectic means a lot of people, a lot of things going on, at one place, a little bit like chaos.
Oh, it's always a bit chaotic, right?
Yes.
Well, I guess you just adapt and go with the flow.
Yeah.
So, can you list a few types of trips that you have taken in Đà Lạt?
Yeah, so I have been, to the mountain, to the different. You have really great mountains around Đà Lạt, Langbiang, for example. You have waterfalls. You have great forests, pine forests.
So, knowing something at the back of your hand and knowing something inside out, that both means, knowing something really well.
Exactly.
So that might be useful idioms.
Yeah, it's good.
Mentioning trips, can you mention some kinds of trips you have taken in Đà Lạt?
Yeah, so I have been around the mountains, Langbiang, and the Elephant Mountain and so on, and also the waterfalls.
Really?
I love waterfalls, yeah.
Oh, so I think that's quite spontaneous, right?
Yeah.
So that cannot be called an excursion.
No.
An excursion, I think, is more like a planned trip or a trip that you go with schools.
Yeah, more organized, like with a tour guide and big group, and you go like to specific targets and places.
And trips is more like unorganized, right? Spontaneous.
Yeah.
So,
I like the spontaneous stuff.
Yeah. And how do you call a trip on the sea? Oceanic trip? I forgot the word.
Voyage, right?
Voyage,
It's
right.
a voyage, yeah.
And I think that's where the word bon voyage derived from.
Yeah.
So, people, Westerners who wild travels in Vietnam, they call them Tây Ba Lô.
It's like kind of the backpackers, right?
Yeah.